Good afternoon. Welcome to our special Facebook Live series, or welcome back, I should say. We just saw you a couple hours ago this morning. We're calling the series Expert Connections as we all adjust to this new norm that we're dealing with right now. We're calling on the experts to talk with us, experts in business, in health, and wellness. And so thank you for joining us today. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let us know that the stream is coming through loud and clear. I am Julie Holton. I am the founder and principal strategist of Connexions Marketing Agency. At Connections, we work with businesses of all sizes and a variety of industries, all of whom are being impacted right now by the coronavirus. And so we have launched this special series of live interviews right here on Facebook to help all of us as we navigate these changes and challenges related to COVID-19. So far, we have talked with a professional biohazard expert from PuroClean about how we can all be keeping our homes and businesses safe and clean. So you can check that out on our video tab on our page. We've also talked with a health and wellness expert about keeping our own personal health and well-being in check. Also a business organizational expert from our team for those of you who are now working from home, especially with kiddos at home. You can check out her tips there. And then yesterday we talked to a community activist about what's being done here in the greater Lansing area in Lansing, Michigan, to help those who maybe need access to food and care and supplies. This morning we talked with Ashley Willis about all of the events being postponed and canceled and what businesses and organizations can do as they're making those very difficult decisions. This afternoon, right now, we have joining us to talk about more on the business aspect. We have Shari Pash, who is a member expert. Hi, Shari. Thanks so much for joining us. Shari is the founder of Strategic Solutions for Growth. She is a membership and a strategist and coach, and she talks with clients. She actually normally is speaking with clients all over the US and Canada, a lot of that travel being postponed right now. So we are so lucky to have her with us today to talk with us about some of these changes we're seeing, and specifically, Shari, talking about how you're guiding your clients right now in this kind of new norm as we're adjusting here. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Julie. This is so awesome that you're doing this series, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. Thanks for inviting me, and I'm glad everyone's online to listen and do some virtual discussions with us. So thanks again.
Yes, and feel free to join the discussion. Those of you who are tuning in, I can see Nathan and David are both online. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to say hello and join the conversation. If you have questions as we go along, Shari will be more than happy to answer them. So let's dive right in. So Shari, I want to first just give a little bit of background for context. So you work mostly with chambers of commerce, nonprofit organizations, associations, all across the US and Canada, and you help them focus on membership and growth strategies, which I know right now is a really difficult thing as we're all staying home. Maybe we're working remotely. Definitely our networking events have been canceled. So I want to start by asking you, for those that are in the business development that use these networking events for FaceTime with clients and customers, how can we sustain these relationships or even create new relationships right now while we're dealing with coronavirus?
Yeah, that's so true, Julie. I've been in sales my whole life, and that's what we're talking about, really. Membership development, volunteer development, corporate sales development. All of that is based on relationships, right? And when you think about it, you going to your different industry events, going to business networking events, even having those business luncheons and breakfasts where you meet clients and customers, all that's put on hold. And when I think about all the sales activity I've done through the years, and now I'm a coach and trainer, so that's not as high, but I had a full-time job, full-time sales. And I'm sure a lot of you who might be listening to this also are in that boat. So we want to talk about how do we get back to some of that normal sales work that we need to do right now, because you still need to be earning that income. You still need to be helping your clients and customers. And a lot of this, what we're doing in sales is helping, right? So to stay in front of, we have to get virtual. Right? We have to be able to do this from our home, or if you're still in your office, perhaps. And I love LinkedIn. Anybody who knows me knows I love LinkedIn.
And
It's an
you're a pro at it.
is it? Yeah, it's just an amazing tool that is free. You can use a free version of this and do a lot of what we're going to reference here, but you want to start to get front of mind with your customers, your clients, your members, whoever your constituents is that you need to be in front of. We want to think about one, when you think about your LinkedIn profile, are you using it as a sales tool? Think about when you used to go up and shake hands with somebody at a networking event, right? Can I go to your LinkedIn profile and shake hands with you and get to know you? So we want to make sure that our LinkedIn profile is working for us during this time. Make sure that it's talking why a customer or client wants to talk with you. What can you do for them? So let that virtual work be being done for you. Are you ready to connect with your clients and customers on LinkedIn? If you're not already connected to them, get your profile where you're proud of what it's saying, and then get connecting with your clients and customers, because we want them to see you and stay front of mind with them. And again, some of your customers and clients may not be on LinkedIn. It may be other platforms. So wherever it is, but I like LinkedIn because it's a true business platform. And I think within that, what's your strategy? What groups should you be hanging out in? So there's a lot, I think, virtually we can talk about, and we can go into that in a little bit more yet. But I also think that if you start to watch your organizations, I know a lot of chambers of commerce have taken their networking events and moved them virtual. We're going to start seeing a lot more Zoom meetings and different Google Hangouts and things like that. So make sure you can be a part of those things. And if you're going, I'm just not very techy, this is a great learning time then, because you've got the time now. And it's going to be critical that we go virtual because we don't have the in-person ability right now. So I think with more events going virtual, that will help. I like LinkedIn. I also know that there's times where you need to be meeting with a customer or a client for lunch, right? So why not order a takeout meal that they're offering delivery, have it delivered to your client, talk to them in advance, and then let's have lunch together still. We can Zoom that. We can do a Zoom lunch meeting. I think this could be so fun. Breakfast, coffee, because we do know that there's that connection when you're sharing food and you're having relationship. That's the best way to do it. So, and then you're also supporting your local business, right? By supporting, and maybe it's your clients in another city even. Find out who's their favorite restaurant that you could help support. Order them a lunch to be delivered to their office and have lunch together.
What a great idea. I love that. And then it's kind of a 2-for-1. You're supporting that local business that's now making deliveries instead of having people dining in. And you're still connecting with your business connection through a virtual meeting. What a great idea. In fact, I was just talking with one of my clients about doing that as well, and turning that into and our team, we're talking about having, a virtual happy hour or we were joking about having that happy hour at 9 a.m. Maybe that's the time for a coffee happy hour.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, think of that whole social part of it. We're going to see ourselves starting to have happy hour with our friends over Zoom or FaceTime, or like what we're doing here today. I mean, Julie's the epitome of this. I mean, this is fantastic what you're doing with your Facebook Lives and helping to educate and share information and bring exposure to other parts of this situation we're in, more or less. So yeah, I mean, look how fun this has been and how easy it is to work with, us being able to talk like this and all. So again, I think the biggest part is, how do we get virtual? How do you build relationship in? When you have your different platforms, we've got to make sure we have pictures on them. We've got to have videos. We've got to connect with people on a real level and making that relationship come through that screen that you're looking at. We don't want just static information. We just don't want lists of things to check off and do. So
absolutely. And Shari, I want to talk for a moment on messaging, because I'm gonna tell you, I have received a few emails and LinkedIn messages that I'm ready to just delete the contacts, because the messaging right now has changed. This is not business as usual for many businesses. I think we need to keep that in mind, that yes, we are all working to sustain these relationships and to reach out and make these connections. But I think we need to do so while acknowledging what we're all going through. So now is not time to be very transactional when you're sending these messages and you're reaching out. So Shari, what are your tips for making sure that you're actually authentically connecting with people instead of just making it about the sale?
That's right. Really with that, we have transactions we have to do, but we've got to back up, put the relationship into it. The empathy, we have that word in business. It's a part of how we do business, or should be. First, empathize with where your customer or client is. Every business is going through this in a different way. So how do we make sure that we understand? First, we have to have educated ourselves to understand what is our customer or client going through? What are they experiencing? So that in our conversation, we can truly talk to them about that. But we want to try to talk in different ways, our emails, our voicemails. I'll give an example. I work with a lot of membership organizations, and it might be, we're calling to talk about renewing your membership. But no, we're calling to talk about how we might remain a part of your business strategy this next year. We know that strategy is changing. We want to be at the table with you to find the solutions that are going to help you go forward. So we want to talk more about that. You might be somebody who's calling to check on if someone's ready to sign an agreement with you, perhaps. Now we want to start to think of things differently. If you're maybe in the finance industry, are you ready to begin earning the highest interest? Not are you ready to move your investment over to us? So we've got to make sure it's about what they need and want. Kind of another example might be, is this, I had to make some notes here because there's so much changing every day here, but is this the time for you to use our tools to increase production in your plant? Or is this, so we always want to make sure that when we're talking in what's important to them. And what's important to them has changed 180 degrees in the last week. So we've got to make sure we understand and know what's important to our clients and customers. Get in and listen to the conversations that are happening online. Just like what you're doing here, Julie. People are listening, what's going on, and make sure you're relevant with your customers when you're talking to them.
Absolutely. And Shari, isn't it interesting that I have a feeling that these are many of the tips that you were giving your clients and your businesses that you work with before all of this. But now we're all going to get really good at it really fast, because the message should never be about us. The message should always be about our clients or our members. And so this is going to help us put that into focus really quickly to change that messaging.
I know that's so funny, because you're right. This isn't new stuff we're talking about. And if a lot of you are on this call, you're probably thinking, we know that. That's good stuff. We know that. Or are we doing it? Because we get very lax sometimes, right? And the reminders and refreshers, you're right. We're just talking still solid relationship sales. And how do we now change the messaging, though, to really be empathetic to what's going on today?
Yes, absolutely. And so we have a question here I'm going to bring up because it ties in perfectly. David says, how can business owners who are running negative right now connect and not be transactional while getting the sales that they desperately need to keep paying the bills?
Yeah. Isn't that the truth, that desperation? How do we not let that desperation come through? And I think that's where we go back to, again, understanding the customer and client, what their timing is, what do they need, and really make sure that when we're talking with them, we're hitting the value points of what's going to be important. We have to know what's the buy factor. And you may have some deals already in process, David, right now, even. How do we close on those right now? How do we try to follow up with people when, oh my gosh, they're just trying to stay afloat themselves? So I always like to go back to, during the sales process, thinking about what were the yeses that you got from that particular prospect you were talking to? Where did they show the most excitement? What was going to be the decision-making factors that they used? And when we're following up right now, make sure we're coming back to those, bring them back to that high they were on when you were talking with them the first time. And how do we then help them see the need for what your product or service is? That how can your product or service help them in this specific time right now? And that's the thing. Just getting in front of them is, how do we relationally, if they're not answering their phone, they're not replying to their emails, go to the social media, try to get on there, but you've got to have a message about your product or service that intrigues them. Why do I need you right now? And there's got to be a reason that they need you right now, but also for long term. We don't want to sell everyone on just short term. Right now, here's how we get through this. We also want to say, for long-term success, it's important that we don't just disrupt everything that we're doing right now for long-term success, because our hope is the future comes back. And so we've got to take them and show them that vision and how this investment right now needs to still happen. I hope
Absolutely.
that helps.
I Yeah, Sherry, I'll add to it. I think looking at it strategically. I mean, we in business and in marketing and in business development, we need to be ready to have our strategies be fluid. You and I talk about that a lot.
A lot.
And this is one of those situations where we don't know how long this will last. We
Right.
do know that it's not going to be over tomorrow. And so being able to take our strategies now, make it a priority to adjust your strategy. What can you do right now to change your methods? I mean, if you have an email campaign that just runs on auto, stop it. If
Yes.
you have social media posts that you scheduled, 2 weeks ago, stop them. These are things tactically that you can do because we need to be able to adjust on the fly. And these are things I know my team's been working on for the last 2 weeks with our clients. But stop that business as normal mode and sit down, take the time. It feels like you don't have time. I know that, especially when it matters most, it feels like you don't have time, but take that time, take an hour to sit down, look at your plans and look at, okay, how can I adjust those social media posts? What posts can still run? How do I just adjust the language to let people know that we're thinking of you, we're here for you, and this may be a solution to help you. Things like that suddenly spending that hour is going to feel like it's going to pay off in the long run. And then you'll be better positioned to continue to adjust and flow and go with the flow. We have another. Oh, go ahead, Shari.
And I was just going to say really quickly, because that's such a great message, because there was a couple posts I've seen come through from, I can't remember what cities and states they came from, but where they were posting about coming in for dining specials, whatever night special it was, and they're closed right now. So you're right, going back and looking at those plans and keeping them fluid. And how do you alleviate their worry? That's a lot of how can your product or service alleviate the worry that your customer and client has?
Absolutely. And Terry England just posted a comment. She says, building a caring relationship for the client. And that says it all in one sentence.
It sure does, Terry.
Said and boil it into one sentence. That is it. We need to genuinely and authentically care for our clients. And then tell them, show them how we're there for them. Yeah, so Stephanie has a great question. As a member of my local chamber of commerce, how can I still stay connected to my chamber while staying home? It's a great question, Stephanie. And Shari, I'm going to ask you to even kind of flip it around and talk about, from Stephanie's perspective, how to stay connected, but also how you are advising your chamber clients to stay connected.
Yeah, because that's what the Chamber of Commerce is all about. It's what so much of our industry experts are talking about here in the chamber world too. So as a member, how can you still want that exposure? You still want to be connected. That's where, go to their social media, go to their LinkedIn groups where you can actually post information as well as read information. Engage with what they're posting on their social media, like, comment, and share what's happening within their realm. Offer your services as a help to other members. Almost all chambers have a page that you can go into that allows you to offer member-to-member discounts or deals. They want to put news out and such. So they're still putting their e-newsletters out. Give them something to talk about. But definitely think about kind of the outside of yourself. What could you do for other members right now? And that's the message they want to get out there. How are we helping each other? I think it's really cool if the chambers of commerce, to stay connected, can really share the good news that's happening out there. What are people doing that's helping each other? How is this company helping that company? Share that news with your chamber so they have things to talk about, because they also want to be in the middle of supporting and growing and changing. And I think that it's really important for both sides, the member and the chamber, or any association, state associations, local associations, nonprofits, charitable organizations. Everybody wants connected to their volunteers, to their customers, to their members. And that's where, if we can't pick up the phone for one, right? Just pick up the phone and have conversations. That email took us away from that for so long. And I love sales in relationships on the phone. Pick the phone up and talk to the people you want to talk to. Give them a way to gather digitally. virtually so that people can come together. Have open forums where people can share information. So, and I think when you go back to your organizations again, make sure that your enhanced profiles, almost all your membership software for the member side and the organization side, have these areas that you can go in and post videos and more information, help companies understand who you are. Look at you, it goes back to what you said, Julie, messaging. How do we make sure the right message? It's your brand, it's your response to this situation. What do you want your brand to be out there? And make sure your messaging is going with it. Are you supporting, or are you causing challenge, more or less? We don't want those people who are going to be picking apart, oh my gosh, you're not doing this for me, you're not doing that for me. Let's all work together. What can we do for each other during this time? I think that's one of the reasons, we find ourselves in weird situations like we are right now. Maybe there's a better good that's supposed to come out of all of this.
Absolutely, a better good that can connect all of us.
Yeah.
And keep in mind too, Stephanie, as an additional answer to your question, chambers of commerce provide so many resources that, I'll be honest, I know I don't take full advantage of those resources. And so now is a time that we can use our chambers of commerce to connect with other businesses. How do we provide our support for other businesses who are going through the same things that we're going through right now too? So.
And real quick on that too, Julie, I want to add one more thought.
Yeah.
Is just whatever, you all belong to industry organizations, chambers of commerce, whatever that is, call them up and ask them, how can you help? How can you get more exposure? Or just what can I do for you right now to also help you? They're a small business as well. And when we work together, they might have 300 members, 800 members, 1,000 members. They can't pick that phone up and call every one of you that quickly. But you as one person could call them and say, hey, what can we do together?
Great tip, Shari. Okay, next question for you. When sales teams really need to follow up on deals, maybe there were business transactions that were already in the sales cycle before all of this started. And Dave had kind of alluded to this earlier in his question. How do we kind of stand above that stress? Any tips to make sure that we're heard and that we stay in connection?
Yeah, I think, again, it goes back to one, and this kind of goes back to that sales process. Do we know what this customer, are we just following up to get that contract signed? Or are we following up to help them experience this, or this? So it's going back to that conversation where we don't just follow up on what's important to us, we're following up on their priorities and motivations. Are you ready to do this next step? Because if we're making it just about us to check off that, I tried again to get that contract in, or I made that follow-up call, the more we just do it as a check off, they kind of know that. It goes back to that authentic word you used, Julie. We've got to make sure that our follow-up is relevant to them, that they need to reply to your email. Right now, emails, voicemails are inundated with challenges. If you can be that solution and you're following up on their value points, not on you getting your contract in or your agreement in. That's the biggest piece. When you continue to show your value in your follow-ups and not just simply a quick touch base follow-up, get that relationship back into it. That really is one of the strongest things that we can do, is to really make sure that we understand what's important to them and we are following up on that reason. Not just.
And it's a great time to be inventive too. If you are looking to make follow-ups and you want to stay connected, perhaps you're not able to provide the solutions they need right now. That could be a reality for some of us, right?
Yeah.
So are there other solutions we can offer them? Can we work in support of them? Maybe it's just an encouraging email to say, I'm still here when you're ready. So thinking outside the box and thinking creatively on that, and making sure that, we're all people at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, we are all being told to stay home as much as possible, or not go into the office, not go out unless you absolutely need it. And so when you're communicating with the business on the other end of that email, think about the person who's receiving that email. They are probably at home. They might have kids running around them. They might have dogs barking in the background. They might have a spouse that they're ready to kick out to another house in the neighborhood. They're dealing with all of these stresses and anxieties that we are. And so let's connect as people, person to person.
Yep. And I'd make sure that follow-up is simply checking on them first. You may even just do some simple checkup emails that you send to your closest customers and clients and business friends. do some checking up on them. Simply see how this is impacting them. That once you get that information back, you're going to have a much more strategic follow-up perhaps next week.
I love that. Great advice there. Shari, this has been so helpful. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think is top of mind that we should mention to our audience?
Well, there's so much always that we could just go on and on with. And I said, go back to your roots of sales development, the basics, understanding your customer and client, what they're going through, being empathetic, understanding. So I think, give them a way to gather digitally. If you're an organization, connect where your customer is, connect where they're at from all levels, physically where they're at, to mentally where they're at, emotionally where they're at, and where they're at in your sales cycle, more or less. So I think that just showing them that you're there to help. What can you do as a good outreach that has nothing to do with your sales? What else can you do? So I think that comes down to a relationship. I hope that, I know there's other questions, Julie, you could save them up and you and I can do some quick emails out to people. But I hope everyone picked up. I know there's some real sales experts on these calls too. So I hope you guys picked up just a reminder or a tip or two today.
Oh, Shari, this has been really helpful. And before we go, I want to mention you have not one, but 2 webinars coming up that you talking about, adjusting on the fly. You've created these, in response to this. So the first, and I'm going to put your website up here on the screen so people can connect with you. Connect with Shari at her email is Shari@sharipash.com. You can also go to her website. She's got resources there, blogs and information. You can connect with her there as well. And also register for these 2 webinars. So the first, Shari, is tomorrow. Tell us about this one tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 3:00, we are doing a LinkedIn hands-on webinar. I'll be live in LinkedIn showing you how you can use your profile as a real sales tool, a business development tool, membership development. We're going to show you how to engage with current connections, how to find new connections, how to truly even do some true prospecting. So who do you want to start to build business with? So you can do all this homework and be ready. So when it's true sales time again, you've got some great new prospects, but really engaging right now. How do I stay front of mind and connected? And we're going to go through all parts of LinkedIn and really show you that. So I hope you guys can pop on there and register. This is one of my most popular conference sessions I do is LinkedIn because it's free and it's an amazing tool.
And 1 or 2 people I saw commented that LinkedIn is an area where they need to grow. Now
this is the
time. Now that we have time, now that we're stuck at home, join Shari tomorrow, 3:00 Eastern. All of that information's on her website. We'll post the link here under this video as well. And then, Shari, I know that also for your chamber clients and organizations, you're doing a webinar next week as well.
That's right.
About some of these things as well for them.
Yes, it's going to be kind of that. How does the whole team impact engagement during this COVID-19? Different things that all the staff members or volunteers at a chamber can do. How do we now, again, what does engagement mean to our chamber members? So this is going to be very chamber or even association oriented. Could jump in on that one as well. And that one's going to be March 30th, I believe. Yeah, it's on my website there, but I'm focused on tomorrow's right now. Everything's moving so quick. So I just moved one from next week to Friday. It's so urgent that this statewide group gets some time. So just head to sharipash.com and we'll see what we can work out there. And I'd love to see more of you on those. But the LinkedIn one tomorrow, really going to be a fun one. So,
and I'll post the links here so that you won't have far to go. I'll post the link to Shari's website and also to both of those webinars. And then Shari, I will be talking with more experts as the week goes on. You were teasing me today about this busy schedule, which, this is just one way thinking creatively outside the box to help make these connections, right?
Right.
So tomorrow.
I say you could teach this. You're doing amazing connecting with people.
Thank you, Shari. Thank you. Hey, you know what? It's kind of my own therapy. It's my way of connecting with people and trying to act as a resource to give back. So in between running crisis communications for my clients and helping them with their strategies, the best way I know how to respond to this is to be able to connect people in our community. So I'm really glad that people are finding value in this. Tomorrow morning, you're all going to want to join us because normally you hear this woman from behind the podcast mic, but tomorrow morning at 11:00 Eastern, Audria Fink, my co-host for Think Tank of 3, she will be joining me in front of the camera. I think this is going to be kind of that virtual coffee hour we've been talking about where we can talk about life, the pros and cons of what we're more cons than pros. I don't know what we're going through personally and professionally. So Audrey will join me tomorrow morning at 11. Then at 3:30. I'm going to double check the time, but I think it's 3:30. Check on our Facebook events page. Joyce Martyr, she's a psychotherapist out of Chicago, national public speaker and author. She will be joining us to talk about how to get through this from a mental health perspective. I'm really looking forward to that conversation as well. And then Friday, we have an attorney from Foster Swift Law Firm, John Mashney, will be joining us to talk about how to minimize some of the legal issues, perhaps that could be surrounding COVID-19. So businesses and organizations, you'll want to tune in for that. And then we have coach and consultant Nora Luke joining us Friday afternoon to round out our coverage for the week. And so full line of experts, and I'm so grateful for all of them, including you, Shari, who have donated your time this week to our audience. So keep an eye out on the events page for that. And if you have any questions for Shari, guys, please feel free to keep commenting here and reach out to her on her website. Shari, thank you so much.
Julie, thank you. And truly, what you're doing this week is such an example for so many organizations and companies. It's amazing what you've accomplished this week.
Oh, thank you. Back at you. So hang in there, everyone, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Bye-bye.